Welcome to Denmark, and we're looking forward to a nice evening. First of all, I wanted to know, how did you meet Kenny, and how did your whole cooperation arise? How did you start making music together?
Well, Kenny Dope and I met in 1990, and we met through a mutual friend, Todd Terry. He introduced us, and we linked up and just got together and started making beats and creating music, man. Just like where he was coming from, he liked where I was coming from. I was already a very big DJ in New York City since 1985, and in 1990 we got together and. It just, we complemented each other so well that I thought it was a great idea to start a production team together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we started Masters at Work, which was a crew name that he had from him and his crew that used to throw parties in Brooklyn.
Yeah, those like block parties.
Yeah, he used to do block parties.
Yeah, because he's from like a more of a hip hop background, right?
Hip hop background. He worked at a record store called the Record Center. Yeah.
All right. So right off the bat, it was about house music, or it was.
No, it was about everything. When growing up in New York, you just learn how to play good music. And it could have been hip hop, it could have been house music, it could have been disco, it could have been R&B, soul, funk, Latin. Everything.
Because there's so many different ethnicities in New York, so you get influenced from a little bit of.
Yes, you get it from
everything.
all over. You just get the best of the best in music, and we grew up with a lot of that. So it definitely it just grew on us.
Cool. So what are actually your main influences when you make music?
Oh, my influences, they're in all different directions, I mean, I love Quincy Jones, Stevie Wonder, Sergio Mendes, Tito Puente, producers like Creed Taylor and Tommy the Puma.
Yeah.
Watching a performance, I mean, I get inspiration in all kinds of ways. Especially traveling now, with all the traveling, all these years, I've learned a lot from a lot of different cultures around the world.
That brings me to the New Eurekan Soul concept. How did that come about, and how was it to work with some of these amazing legends?
Well, New Eurekan Soul is it was all about us growing up in New York City. We created a track that brought together a lot of different genres of music. Hip hop, house, drum and bass, Latin music, like all kinds of crowds were getting into this one track we did called the Nervous track. So we had friends like Giles Peterson and also Morris Bernstein from Giant Step, who reached out and said, we'd love for you to create an album. And Kenny and I were already on our way to creating an album for the New Eurekan Soul song that we had created, just extending it into this whole project. And as it started, we had about 5 artists that we had already talked to because we had already had relationships with them. And that was India, Jocelyn Brown, Tito Puente, Eddie Palmieri, and Roy Ayers. As we worked with them and the project just kept growing and growing, we started involving a lot more artists as well, and just reached out to them and showed them what we were starting, what we were building, the seeds of the New Eurekan Soul project, and everybody came on board. It was beautiful. I mean,
Yeah, who wouldn't want to be a part of that?
Well, once you have people like George Benson and Roy Ayers, Tito Puente, India, Jocelyn Brown, Dave Valentine, Hilton Ruiz. I mean, we had Jazzy Jeff. I mean, so many amazing musicians coming together to make a record, and it reminded us of the '70s, like when Stevie Wonder made songs in the key of life, and Sergio Mendes, created his great albums, and Quincy Jones. They brought together a lot of talent, into the studio, and we kind of followed in those footsteps.
Yeah.
Right now, we're building our labels, our individual labels. I have Vega Records, and Kenny has KD and Dope Wax. And I've been working on my Elements of Life project for the last 5 years, and that's my band. And it kind of became the next step of New Eurekan Soul in a way, because I took some of the rhythm section and I actually created a whole new sound for Elements of Life as well. So I'm working on the next album, which is going to come in 2009. in March.
Okay.
And it's going to be a very special album, you know.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to
And hopefully with a
finishing
lot
it
of
up. I've
yeah.
already done about 10 songs. And then I've also been developing a lot of artists on Vega Records. And Vega Records is my label. And we put out all these new artists with new albums and stuff, like Mr. V and Anane and Sarah Divine and Luisito Quintero, who's an amazing percussionist. You know,
I
we've
know.
done 2 albums with him. So Vega Records now has over 60 singles, and we're on the 6th album. So we're really excited about the way it's growing.
And hopefully a lot of singles are gonna come out from the Elements of Life next album.
For sure,
Of course.
there's going to be tons of them, and as well, Kenny's working on his KD records, and he puts out a lot of rare groups. He finds all these great rare albums, and brings in the masters and starts rehashing them and doing his thing to it. So
Awesome.
he's also producing Raheem Devon, who's a new R&B soul artist who's doing amazingly well. You know, so we're doing a lot of things individually and on our own, but we didn't forget about Masters at Work or New Eureka Soul, and we're going to come back and do some stuff for that as well.
If you have a favorite place or a favorite club to play in the world, where would that be?
Wow, there's so many of them, but I would have to say there's one club in Mykonos called Cabo Paradiso, and it's a club that is 100 meters above the Aegean Sea, and it's really beautiful. You know what I mean? It's an amazing view. I mean, you start at 4 in the morning, you end about noon, you know, and you go straight to the beach after that, you know, so it can't get any better, you know. Awesome. Also, you know, my home spot at Roots, you know, I have a party at New York City called Roots that I do every Wednesday night, and it's been 4 years now. And I run the party with my partner Kevin Hedge of Blaze, and we're having a beautiful time over there in New York City. And it's at Cielo, which is one of the top premier clubs in New York.